Welcome to my channel Learnovate. In this video, we will going to discuss about the physiology of the urine concentration and dilution. It's the chapter number 29 from the Guyton Physiology. So in this video, we will going to discuss the concentration and the dilution of urine and how it take place, what are the mechanism behind, we'll all going to discuss in this video. So normally what happens, the volume of urine production depend on the intake of water, that how much water we are going to intake. In dehydration, the kidney produce the concentrated urine, while in overhydration or an adequate amount of water, the kidney produce the dilute urine. So in this way, the volume of urine is controlled by the condition in the kidney. So we're going to discuss first the dilute urine, and then we're going to discuss the concentrated urine and also the mechanism behind the concentration of urine. So in this diagram here you can see that what is the mechanism behind the formation of dilute urine. What happens normally in absence of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone important for the water reabsorption, the urine is usually diluted. And how this dilute urine is produced? Because we all know that in the PCT the concentration of the plasma and the tubular fluid is isotonic. So there is no reabsorption and no regain of water. But when the fluid reaches up to the ascending limb of the loop of Henle, there is excessive reabsorption of the solutes, that is your NaCl and other solutes. So what happens, the osmolarity of the tubular fluid decreases and there is a dilution. While in the DCT, there is a further dilution of the tubular fluid. So what happens at the end, because of the absence of ADH, the collecting duct become more and more diluted and the fluid that is forming the urine is become hypotonic to the medullary interstitium, or you can say through the interstitial fluid. So in this way, in the absence of ADH, the fluid that is passed through the loop of Henle and then at the end in the collecting duct is hypotonic to the plasma. And here you can see the hypotonicity is decreased up to 50 milliosmol per liter, and that is very much less hypotonicity. So in this way the urine excrete the dilute or the hypotonic urine. Now coming to the mechanism behind the concentrated urine. Now here we can see that how the kidney forms the concentrated urine. First, the concentrated urine is dependent on the interstitial hypertonicity. So the renal medulla maintains its hypertonicity to form the concentrated urine. And this hypertonicity or the maintenance of the medullary hypertonicity is produced by the U shape of the loop of Henle. Here you can see this is shown the part of loop of Henle. Because of this loop of Henle, there is a mechanism called countercurrent multiplier, and that causes the formation of this medullary interstitium as hypertonic. Now how this hypertonicity of medullary interstitium is maintained to prevent the dilution of urine? This medullary interstitium maintained through the vasa recta, that is a blood supply going to the loop of Henle, that we are going to discuss later on. But in this video, in this part of video, we will going to discuss the countercurrent multiplier, also called as countercurrent exchanger, that is because of the U-shaped loop of the Henle. Now coming to the explanation of this diagram. Now first what happens, that there is a presence of a fluid that is filtered from the Bowman's capsule and coming into the loop of Henle. When the fluid is in the proximal convoluted tubule, the fluid has a similar concentration to the plasma, that is about 300 milliosmol in both the tubular fluid and the plasma. So here you can see that the fluid is isotonic in the PCT. After passing from the PCT and from the descending limb, it remains isotonic. But when it reaches the ascending limb of loop of Henle, it causes the active reabsorption of solute. Here you can see in the next step, because of the presence of ion channel, more and more reabsorption of solute occur and the passing fluid become hypotonic, and that created an osmotic concentration gradient. About 200 milliosmol gradient is created between the intestinal fluid and the tubular fluid, and that concentration gradient is maintained for a new fluid to come. Then now what happens, if a new fluid comes from the PCT and then it passes through the descending limb of loop of Henle, what happens, because of the change in the concentration gradient, there will be osmosis of water from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So what happens, the water will be removed more and more outside, and then there's osmosis of water, and then ultimately that fluid again reaches upward into the ascending loop of Henle and causing more and more solute reabsorption. Then it becomes hypotonic, and there is a maintenance of this medullary interstitium up to the level of higher gradient. So what happens now, again in the fourth step here, you can see that again the fluid is coming and more solute is reabsorbed from the ascending part of loop of Henle, and maintenance of the medullary interstitium is done because of this presence of loop of Henle. Now in the next step, what happens, this step occur again and again up till the level of about 1000 to 1200 osmolarity or hypertonicity of medulla is created. Why? Because more and more solute is reabsorbed from the ascending part of loop of Henle into the medullary interstitium. So more and more osmolarity is creating inside the medullary interstitium. And now until the 1200 to 1400 milliosmol osmolarity is created, and this is the formation of the hypertonic medulla by the loop of Henle. Now how this hypertonicity of medulla is maintained? This is maintained by the vasa recta. Now we will see how the vasa recta maintain the medullary interstitium in the next part. Welcome to my channel Learnovate. In this part of video, we will going to discuss the function of vasa recta in the maintenance of medullary interstitium. We have just discussed the chapter, the concentration and dilution of urine, and now we are going to discuss the maintenance of this hypertonic medullary interstitium. Now coming to the role of vasa recta is principally a blood supply to the medullary interstitium looping around the loop of Henle. So how it maintains? First, what happens that the fluid, that is the blood, is coming through the vasa recta. It causes the absorption of solute and release of water. It causes the reabsorption of solute, and there is a release of water from the blood into the interstitium. Then what happens, if it reaches the ascending limb of loop of Henle, there is a release and the reabsorption of solute back into the medullary interstitium, while the water will not be released. It will going to absorb the water more and more inside the blood, and it will going to descend upward. So in this way, the solute is not being captured from the medullary interstitium. Even the solute is returned to the medullary interstitium. So in this way, the osmolarity or the hypotonicity of the interstitium is maintained, while the water is being reabsorbed and captured away by this blood vessels, that is a vasa recta. So in this way, the medullary interstitium is maintained in its hypertonic condition. Now one more important point here is that these two mechanisms, that is a countercurrent exchanger and the countercurrent multiplier with the vasa recta, is going to maintain this medullary interstitium. Some important role of urea is also present in this interstitium maintenance, but how the urea maintains, we will going to see it by diagram. Now in this diagram here, you can see the recirculation of the urea. The urea as an excretory product also act as a solute. So we know that solutes are for hypertonicity or for creating the osmolarity. So what happens, there are the urea transporters located in the medullary collecting duct and also in the descending part of loop of Henle. The urea receptor A1 and A3 are located in the medullary collecting duct, while the urea receptor A2 is located at the loop of Henle. So what happens at the tip of the collecting duct, that is a medullary collecting duct, under the influence of ATX, these urea receptors become stimulated, and what happens, there will be more and more reabsorption of the urea from these receptors into the interstitium. And ultimately this interstitium is increased in their osmolarity. So it is also going to maintain the hyperosmolarity of the medullary interstitium. Also one more important thing here is that some of the urea that is absorbed from this collecting duct will get reabsorbed back into the loop of Henle through the urea transporter A2. So in this way, the urea is circulated again and again by reabsorbing and by again adhering into the tubular fluid. So in this way, about 50% of urea is absorbed and about 50% of urea is excreted. But urea is going to maintain the medullary interstitium by recirculating its reabsorption. So this is the role of urea, and this is a basic concept that is discussed in this diagram. Now coming to the last diagram that is shown in your book of the chapter number 29 of Guyton, that is about the concentration of the urine ultimately by all the mechanisms. Now here you can see in this diagram, that is a final diagram of showing how the concentrated urine is formed. So here you can see in the proximal convoluted tubule there is a isotonic reabsorption of salt and water both. So solute and water are reabsorbed in equal amount, so there is a isotonic fluid. Then here in the descending part of loop of Henle, water is reabsorbed but the solute does not reabsorb, so there is a hypertonicity of the tubular fluid. Now coming to the loop of Henle, there is a maintenance of the medullary interstitium by the counter current multiplier mechanism we have just discussed. Then what happens, that this fluid will going to upward through the ascending limb of loop of Henle. There will be more and more reabsorption of the solutes and there will be remaining of the hypotonic fluid, that is less in the solutes. So hypotonic fluid will going to go upward through the descending limb and then through the DCT. Then in the DCT there is a role of ADH. When the ADH are released from the posterior pituitary, they will act on the DCT and the collecting tubule and they will cause the more and more reabsorption of water, and ultimately when there is increased amount of reabsorption of water, there will be maintenance of the hypertonicity in the tubular fluid, and the maintained hypertonicity in the interstitium has been maintained through the mechanisms. But here in the tubular fluid, the maintenance of the hypertonicity is by the role of ADH, that causes the more and more absorption of the water, and now at the end of the medullary collecting duct, the hypertonicity is equal to the hypertonicity of medulla, and this way the concentrated urine is produced. So this was all about the concentration and dilution of the urine, and I hope you will be explained well. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. If you have any query, comment below, and if you want to make me videos for you guys, comment, like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.